example. Is it a strand?
It is.
There is something wrong.
Yeah. There's some stem is still in the that we use the outside. This one is broken. But
Is it thread? No, not thread. Broken. Is it thread? Thread?
no, it's here. This doesn't work. This stem like.
Hare Krishna.
Huh?
He want to sing?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
He's just a servant. If you ask him, he won't sing.
Samsaradava nalalidaloka Tranaya karuna guna gunatvam
Samsara dava naladida loka Pranaya karuna gana ganatam
Praptasya kalyana gunanavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda
Rapta sakalyana gunanavasa Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda
Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Varitra Madhyan Manasorasena
Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditramadyan Manasurasena
Romancha Kampa Shutaranga Vajo Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda
Romancha Kampa Sutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda
Shri Vigrahara Dana Nityanana Shingarathan Mandira Marjanado
Shivigara Nityanana Shingaratan Mandiramajanado
Yuktasya Bhaktam Saniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda
Yuktasya Bhaktam Sa Neyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Chaturvida Shri Bhagavat Prasado Swadana Triptan Hari Bhaksha Sangram.
Chaturvida Shri Bhagavat Prasado Sadhana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangha.
Kritvaiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam.
Kritvaiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Shri Radhika Madhava Yurapara Madhurya Leela Ganarupa Namna.
Madhavayara para Madhurya Leela Gunarupanana.
Pratikshanasva Dana Lolupasya Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam.
Pratikshana Dhanalalupasa Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam.
Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Nikunja yono ratikeli siddhai Yayali viyukti rapekshaniya.
Nikunja yono ratikeli siddhai Yayali viyukti rapekshaniya.
Tatrati daksha ativalabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Tatratirakya ativalabhasa Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Saksharaриtvena samasta shastre uktastatha bhayateva sarve.
Sakshadharitena Shamasta Shashe Uktastatava Gataiva Sadhe.
Kinto prabhoya priya eva tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Kintu Prabhoja Priya Evatasa Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Yasya prasada Bhagavat prasado Yasya prasada Nagati kutopi.
Yasya Prasadha Bhagava Prasada Yasya Prasadan Nagati Kutapi.
Jayam stuvam stasa yasatri sadyam Vande Guru.
Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. 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 Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine.
Nama O Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine
Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastata Deshatarine
Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastata Deshatarine
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Hare
Hare Rama
Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Neelamadava, Radha Neelamadava, Radhe.
Jaya Radhani Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe.
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jaya Radhe,
Jaya Radhe,
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadrama, Jaya Sudarshan Chakra.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadrama, Jaya Sudarshan Chakra.
Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman.
Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman.
Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha.
Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha.
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol,
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol,
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jaya Vishnupara Paramsa Prabha Jagachadya Stutara Sarasishimad Iskon Pratishta Viviti Samstapaka Charvaishnav Siramani Gaura Priyajana Krishna Prema Bhaktidat Padita Pavana His Divine Grace Abhocharavinda Bhakti Viranta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Gauriya Guru Vargapati Tudari Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha Shiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Guna Sadguru Swami Prabhu Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ji Ki Jai Nanta Kuri Vaishnava Vrindi Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Se Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai Param Dayal Se Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Jai Prema Nama Sankirtanika Janaka Prema Purushottam Shri Sachinandana Shman Gauranga Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Gaur Hari Mahavrana Avatar Ki Jai Golokera Pramadhan Hari Nam Sankirtan Jaga Ki Jai Juga Dharma Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai Prayer Danga 29th Book Distribution Seva Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Narada Kund Samakund Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Brajabhumi Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai Fellowship Shri Radha Nilamadhava Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Navadvipika Chakradham Ki Jai Paramakurna Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai पुरुषोत्तम कित्र जगन्नाथ प्रधाम की जगन्नाथ स्वामी बलदेव प्रभु सुभद्रा देवी सुदर्शन चक्र भगवान की जय। भक्ति सर्व विघ्न विनाशन कर सिंहरे भगवान की जय। गंगा माय जमुना माय की जय। तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। बोलो श्रीमती राधा रानी की जय। समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। निताय गौरी प्रमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembly bodies, all glories to the assembly bodies, all glories to the assembly bodies, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Pralada Lada Daine. Pralada Lada Daine. Hiranyakasipurvaksha. Hiranyakasipurvaksha. Silatangkanakalaye. Ito nisinga parato nisinga. Jato jato jamitato nisinga. Bahir nisinga, hridaya nisinga. Bahir nisinga, hridaya nisinga. Narasingha madhimi sharanam prapade. Abakara kamala bare naka adabhuta singha. Dalita hiranyakasipu tanavinga. Kesavadita narahari rupa jai jagadisha re. Jai Jagadisha Re. Jai Jagadisha Re. Avakara Kamala Bare Naka Adabhuta Singha. Dalita Hiranyakasipu Tanavinga. Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re. Jai Jagadisha Re. Jai Jagadisha Re. Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re. Jai Jagadisha Re. Jai Jagadisha Re. Kesavadruta Jai Jagadisha Re. Jai Jagadisha Re. Jaya Nishingade Jaya Nishingade Jaya Nishingade Jaya Nishingade Jayo Narahari Jayo Narahari Jayo Narahari Jayo Narahari Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Prahlad Maharaj Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Jai Shri Shri Bhakti Pada Sarvaguna Vinashana Kanishingari Bhagavan Ki Jai Bhakta Shrestha Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Gaura Di Pramanandari Shri Vrindayai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Pradirivi Satavatai Namah Vrindayai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Pradirivi Shatavatai Namah Vrindayai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Krishna Bhakti Pradirivi Shatavatai Namah Jai Shrimati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki No, you start, no problem. Oops.
Namo Namah Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namah
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namo
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namah
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namo
Radha Krishna Seva Pavo Eya Vilashi
Radha Krishna Seva Pava Eya Vilasi
Radha Krishna Seva Pavo Eya Vilashi
Radha Krishna Seva Pava Eya Vilasi
Shaitamaya Sharanaloy Taravansha Purnahoy
Shaitamaya Sharanaloy Taravancha Purna
Kripa Koi Karo Tare Vrindavanavasi
Kripa Koi Karo Tare Vrindavanavasi
Kripa Koi Karo Tare Vrindavanavasi.
Tumi kripa kori karatare Vrindavanavasi.
Moraya Vilas, Vilas Kunjariyava.
Moraya Vilas, Vilas Kunjariyava.
Nayane Heri Basada Jugala Ruparashi.
Aminayane Sada Jugala Ruparasi.
Nayane Heri Vasada Jugala Ruparashi.
Aminayane Sada Jugala Ruparasi.
Eni Vedana Daro Sakiranugata Koro.
Eni Vedana Dhara Sakirayanugata Koro.
Sevadikara diye Koro Nijadasi.
Sevayadikara diye Koro Nijadasi.
Sevadikara diye Koro Nijadasi.
Sevayadikara diye Koro Nijadasi.
Jina Krishna Dase Koi Ye Namora Hoy.
Jina Krishna Das ko enamora.
Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sada Ye Navasi.
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 Tani kani cha papani brahmatyati kani cha. Tani tani pranashanti parakshina pade pade.
Tani kani sapapani brahmahatari kani sa. Tani tani pranasanti pradakshina pade pade.
Tani kani cha papani brahmatyati kani cha. Tani tani pranashanti parakshina pade pade.
Tani kani sapapani brahmahatari kani sa. Tani tani pranasanti pradakshina pade pade.
Yani kani cha papani brahmatyati kani cha. Tani tani pranashanti parakshina pade pade.
Tani kani sapapani brahmahatari kani sa. Tani tani pranasanti pradakshina pade pade.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi.
Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi.
Nitya Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo.
Nitya Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo. Shri Vrindai Tulasi Debai Priyai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Pradevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Vrindai Tulasi Debai Priyai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Pradevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulasi Devai Priyaye Kesava Satya Krishna Bhakti Pradevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Jeshmati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire to attend the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has wishes fulfilled, bestowing your mercy upon him, you make him resident of Vrindavana. My desire is that also grant me a residence in pleasure groves of Shri Vrindavan Dham. Thus, within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of Kavitams of Raj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna praise. May I always swim in love with Shri Radha and Govinda. Shri Mati Tulasi Maharani Vrindari. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sikhastakam Ki Jai. Chaito Darpanam Achanam Bhavamada Vagnini Vapanam Shreyakari Vachandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivadhanam Padiparam Purnamrita Sadhanam Sarvatma Sman Param Param Jayati Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Baudha Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Shmaranena Kal Ita Drisitava Kripaya Bhagavan Mamapi Durdhaivam Idishamya Janina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sashnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Na Dhanam Janjanam Na Sundarim Kavitam Vajagari Shakamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishwari Bhavatar Bhakti Rahitu Kitrai Ainandatanu Jakinkaram Paritama Vishame Bhavam Budho Kripaya Tavapar Pankaja Sthita Dhuli Sadrisham Vichintaya Nayanam Galarashtu Dharaya Vadanam Gadu Gadarudaya Gira Purakya Nichitam Vapokada Tavanama Grahane Bhavisyati Jugaitam Nimishena Chakshusha Pravrusayitam Sunya Itam Jagata Sarvam Govinda Virahinami Asli Shabapadaраtam Pinastumam Adarshnar Marmatam Karotuva Jatata Thava Vidadhatulam Patu Matpranatastu Saivanapana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shikhastakam Ki Jai. Namo Mahavarannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Nama. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Pachattari Satarine. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart, all the dust accumulated for years, and extinguishes the fire of conditional life and period of birth and death. This Sankirtan moment is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which all is anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus we have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govind. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. For I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Once we chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself a Lord and strolling the street, one should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your cause of the devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yes, Samurada, I am falling in this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And will the hairs of my body stand on the end of the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant and well in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he should remain so, even if he sunders me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
Ki Jai. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskati Dasatani.
There are 10 offenses in the matter of chanting the holy name of the Lord that should be avoided. They are as follows. 1. To blaspheme. Devotees who dedicate a life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider names of demigods, like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to be equal to or independent of the name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the very scriptures or scriptures and processions of Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which often veil as a spiritual activity, karma kanda. 9. To instruct the fellow person about the glories of the holy name. And 10. To not have complete faith in chanting the holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even from understanding so many instructions in this matter. It was so an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must carefully guard against 10 offenses in order to people who desire success, Krishna, Prema.
Now let us offer most humble obeisances unto the Vaishnavas,
worship the Lord. They are just like desired trees, they can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls.
Patitana Pavani Bhi Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Vaishnava Thakur Ki Jai. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Ji Guru Pranama prayers Ki Jai. Om Aganyat Mirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manu Bhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tati Swapadantikam Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Jadaha Pajikamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sa Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saguna Ragunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Saidvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saguna Lalita Shri Vishaka Nivitam Sa Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Bhadanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskatya Desatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Shri Vasavanavi Devi Dayitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhur Ujjwala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhakti Da Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudapa Abhasiddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gora Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padambajayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachitanandanamine Gora Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gora Vir Bhava Bhamestvam Nirdesta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhoma Sri Jaganatayate Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Guru Chase Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhakta Akam Namami Bhakta Saktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Jayatam Suratur Pangor Mama Manda Mater Gati Matsarva Swapadam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vindaranya Kalpadumadaha Shimad Ratnagara Simasanastito Shimad Radha Shila Govinda Deva Presta Alvihi Sim Girtamalanam Sranami Shiman Rasarasaram Bivam Sivatas Tatastita Karsan Venuswanir Gopir Gopinatak Striyestana Tapta Kanchana Gurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Stute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Brahma Samiti Ki Jai Ishwara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Nrigaha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Prakarasatma Sukalpa Riksha Laksa Vritesa Surabhira Vipaliantam Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambrahma Sevyamanam Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kwanandam Arinda Taksham Barhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Visesha Sobham Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami An Lola Chandra Kalasadvanam Alya Vamsi Ratnam Gadam Pranay Kalavilasam Shamam Tribanga Lalita Nita Prakasam Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakilendriya Vrittimanti Basyanti Banti Kalyanti Chinam Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achutam Anadi Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purisham Navayovanam Cha Vedesa Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastakoti Satavatsala Samprakamyo Vayoratapi Manasomari Pungamanam Sobhyasti Yat Prapadisimya Vichinti Tatve Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Saurachaitam Jagaranda Kotim Yas Jakti Rasti Jagaranda Chaya Yadanta Danta Rasta Paramanu Chayanta Rasta Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Baba Bhavita Dio Manajasta Taiva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhusa Suktarya Meva Nigama Pratitaistuvanti Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasapati Bhavita Abhistabirya Eva Nichirupa Daya Kalabi Goloka Eva Navasata Kilatma Bhuto Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santaksa Deva Hidesa Vilokayanti Yadam Sama Sandrama Chinta Gunaswarupa Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Sukalani Menitista Nana Avatar Makarod Bhuvanesa Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhuvat Paramam Pamamyo Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Asya Prabha Pavato Jagranda Koti Koti Svasesya Vasadadi Vibhuti Viram Tad Brahma Niskalamanantam Sesya Bhutam Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Mayahi Yasya Jagranda Satani Sutya Jaigun Yatat Visayveda Vitayamanam Sattva Vulambi Parasatvam Visuddha Sattvam Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasat Matayamanasa Yapraninam Patifulam Swaratam Upetya Lilaya Tena Bhuvanani Jaya Yajastram Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Agolokanamni Nichitamni Tare Chitasya Devi Maheswari Dharma Sute 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 Te Prabhavani Chaya Vitasya Yena Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Shastista Tipulaya Sadhava Sakti Reka Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga Ichana Rupam Abhyasya Chitesta Tesa Govinda Madi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Kiram Yatada Devi Karavisa Goga Sanjaya Tena Itata Putakaste Heta Sam Yasam Bhutama Bidata Sam Paitikarya Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Diparcha Devita Santanam Abhupetya Dipayate Vrite Samanu Dharma Syastadri Gevicha Vishnataya Vibhati Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yamkarna Narna Vajali Bhajati Smayoga Nidramananta Jagaranda Saramakupa Adhara Sakti Mabulamgyo Param Samvartim Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Asyaika Nisvasita Kalamatavulamgyo Jivanti Loma Villaja Jagadandanata Vishnu Mahansa Yasya Kalabi Sesha Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Basmanya Tasma Sakalation Jesha Teja Sriyam Kiya Prakadiyata Pitadvatatra Brahmaya Esa Jagadanda Vitandu Karta Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yatpada Palavigam Vinidaya Kumbha Twande Pranama Samayesa Ganadi Raja Vignan Vihanta Malamasya Jagatrayasya Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Agnir Mahiga Ganamambu Maruti Sasya Kala Statakman Siti Jagatrayani Yasmad Bhavanti Vibhavanti Visanti Yamcha Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yaschak Suresa Savitasa Galakrana Raja Samastasur Murti Rasesa Teja Yasyaga Brahmati Samrita Kalachakro Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Dharmulta Papa Nichaya Sutayastapamsi Brahma Dikita Patagava Desajiva Yadata Matra Vibhava Prakatapa Bhava Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yastrindra Gopa Matavendra Mahosva Karma Pandan Rupa Falabhajana Marta Noti Karmani Nirtati Kinti Jabakti Bhajam Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Yam Kroda Kama Samaja Spranayadi Biti Vadpatsal Yamboho Guru Gora Visavya Bhava Sanchinti Tasya Sadvisim Tanam Apurete Govindam Adi Purisham Tamaham Bhajami Sriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpatarava Juma Bhumish Chintamani Ganama Itoyam Amritam Kataganam Natyam Gamanam Apivam Sipriyasaki Chiranandam Joti Param Apitada Swadhyam Apichasa Yatra Shiradi Shrabati Shirabi Vyasta Sumahan Nime Sardakyo Vavrajati Nayatra Pisamaya Vajay Switad Vidvam Tamaha Ilguhulkam Itiam Vitantaste Santakshati Viracharakati Paye Shri Guru Vastika prayers Kijay. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as the cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it. So the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. From my respectful obeisance at the lotus feet is such spiritual master who is an ocean of auspicious qualities, chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing and playing musical instruments. The spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he is relishing the mellows of pure devotion within his mind, sometimes his hair stands on it. He feels quivering in his body and tears fall from his eyes like waves. I offer my respectful obeisance unto Lotus Feet is such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Radha and Krishna. He also engages his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean their temple, and perform other similar worship of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisance unto Lotus Feet as such spiritual master. Spiritual masters are always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food, as that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked. When the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasada, he is satisfied. I offer my respectful obeisance unto Lotus Feet as such a spiritual spiritual master. The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes, Radhika and Madhava, and their qualities, names, and forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment. I, from my respectful basis, unto Lotus Feet, is such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is very dear because he is expert in assisting the gopis who at different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Vrindavana. For my most humble basis unto Lotus Feet is such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is beyond as much as the Supreme Lord, because he is the most confidential servant to the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, from my respectful basis unto Lotus Feet, of such a spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hare Krishna. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master at least 3 times a day. So, of my respectful basis unto the Lotus Feet of my spiritual master, his divine grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shrimad Bhagavatam Grantaraj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, text number 11. We're going to do this one more time. Kastrip Nuyat Tirtha Pado Bidanat Satre Suvasura Bir Idyamanat Yakananadim Purusasya Yato Bhava Padam Geharatim Chinati. Ka, who is that man? Tripnuyat, that can be satisfied. Tirtha Pada, whose lotus feet are all the places of pilgrimage. Abhidanat, from the talks of Satresu in human society. Va, one who is. Suribhi, by great devotees. Idyamanat, one who is so worshipped. Ya, who. Karnanadim, in the holes of the ears. Purusasya, of a man. Yata, entering. Bhava pradam, that which awards births and deaths. Geharatim, family affection. Chinati, is cut off. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord? Whose lotus feet are the sum total of all places of pilgrimage, and who is worshipped by great sages and devotees. Such topics can cut off one's bondage to family affection simply by entering the holes of one's ears. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Krishna Katha is so powerful that simply by entering into a person's ear, it can at once give deliverance from the bondage of family affection. Family affection is an illusory manifestation of the external energy, and it is the only impetus for all mundane activities. As long as there is mundane activity and the mind is absorbed in such engagement, one has to undergo the repetition of birth and death in the current material nescience or ignorance. People are most influenced by the mode of ignorance, and some are influenced by the passionate mode of material nature. And under the spell of these two modes, a living being is actuated, meaning caused to action, by the material conception of life. The mundane qualities do not allow a living entity to understand his real position. The qualities of both ignorance and passion strongly bind one to the illusory bodily conception of life. The best among the fools who are thus deluded are those who engage in altruistic activities under the spell of the material mode of passion. Bhagavad Gita, which is direct Krishna Katha, or subject spoken about Krishna, gives humanity the elementary lesson that the body is perishable and that the consciousness which is spread throughout the body is imperishable. In other words, the body made of matter is perishable. It's going to die. It's going to deteriorate. It's going to get sick. It's going to disappear. but the soul is eternal. And the symptom of the soul is consciousness. The conscious being, the imperishable self, is eternally existent and cannot be killed under any circumstances, even after the dissolution of the body. Anyone who misunderstands this perishable body to be the self, and who works for it in the name of sociology, politics, philanthropy, altruism, nationalism, or internationalism, under the false plea of the bodily conception of life, is certainly a fool and does not know the implications of reality and unreality. Some of them are above the modes of ignorance and passion and are situated in the mode of goodness. But mundane goodness is always contaminated by tinges of ignorance and passion. Mundane goodness can enlighten one that the body and the self are different, and one in goodness is concerned with the self and not the body. But due to being contaminated, those in mundane goodness cannot understand the real nature of the self as a person. Their impersonal conception of the self as distinct from the body keeps them in the mode of goodness within material nature. And unless they are attracted by Krishna Katha, they will never be liberated from the bondage of material existence. Krishna Katha, or hearing this about Krishna and his pastimes, is the only remedy for all people of the world, because it can situate one in pure consciousness of the self and liberate one from material bondage. To preach Krishna Katha all over the world, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, is the greatest missionary activity, and all sensible men and women of the world may join in this great movement started by Lord Chaitanya. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord? That is called a rhetorical question. A rhetorical question in English means you ask a question in such a way that the answer is immediately understood. So in other words, he's saying, who in human society can be satisfied without hearing sufficient talk of the Lord? It means the answer is nobody. No one can be completely satisfied unless they hear about Krishna and Krishna Katha. They will always be unsatisfied. And that is a symptom of material life. People engage in so many different activities, but they're never really satisfied. They have some satisfaction, but it's temporary. And then they endeavor again to satisfy themselves, but they're never really fully satisfied. You can only be fully satisfied by regularly hearing on a daily basis about Krishna, and then you become not, let's say, satisfied in a mundane sense, but you develop an eternal thirst for continuing to hear about Krishna. So there's a difference between never being satisfied in the material sense, because they're trying to be satisfied through the body, and that they'll never be able to do that because the body is destined to deteriorate and eventually die. But by hearing about Krishna on a regular basis, one's desire to hear increases, and one feels excited every day learning something new about Krishna. And eventually, one loses all desires to engage in sense gratification in the material world, and uses all their energy and mental acuity to serve Krishna intelligently. So that is the definition of being happy. When you serve Krishna intelligently and make the right decisions, you're always happy because, number one, by such sincere service to Krishna, Krishna personally protects the devotee. Personally protects the devotee. If we are not engaged in the service of Krishna, then we come under the laws of karma. And those laws are sustained by the demigods. So, and the demigods are behind the material creation, manipulating things like the wind and currents of water, including blood currents in the body, and also the rain, and all the different necessities that are necessary for maintaining the body and be controlled by the demigods. But when we surrender ourselves to Krishna and engage regularly in hearing about his transcendental qualities and pastimes, Krishna takes a special interest in us, and he personally protects the devotee. So this is explained in even more depth in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's all about the importance of protecting cows, which is very strongly stressed by Krishna. Krishna himself is a cowherd boy, and he's protecting his cows. His father had 900,000 cows in Vrindavan 5,000 years ago. That's a huge number of cows. But Krishna would take them out for pasture every day with the other gopas, or cowherd boys. And but we don't realize the importance of cow protection. It's absolutely important for the prosperity and health, as well as well-being of society. So Prabhupada explains in the 10th canto, and verse number 6th chapter, 20th verse. Yasoda rohini bhyam da samam bala shasarvata raksham vida dire samyak go pucha brahmanadi bihi. Thereafter, Mother Yasoda and Rohini, along with the other elderly gopis, waved about the switch of a cow to give full protection to the child Sri Krishna. This is actually Srimad Bhagavatam 10:6-19. Sorry. So, the switch of a cow, it's S-W-I-T-C, I-T-H. What does that mean? It means the last part of the cow's tail. The tail is pretty straight, not straight, but the cow's tail is long, but the last part of it is very loose hairs, and that's called the switch. So the gopis had very advanced knowledge of how to protect newborn children, and also how to use cow dung and cow urine and the switch of the cow to protect the child. This is a science that has been forgotten today, but it's explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the purport to that verse, it says, first of all, the verse says, thereafter, Mother Yasoda and Rohini, along with the other elderly gopis, waved about the switch of a cow to give full protection to the child Sri Krishna. And the explanation is the following. When Krishna was saved from such a great danger, well, that's Putana tried to kill Krishna, and she transformed her horrible body into a beautiful young maiden and bewitched the gopis, and especially Mother Yasoda. And she entered their company and requested very humbly if she could give her breast for the baby Krishna to suckle. And Mother Yasoda, seeing this beautiful young lady, thought that she was like one of them, and she offered the child to the Putana. Well, Putana had smeared poison on her breast, and when she offered that breast to Krishna, he accepted it, and he did not. He understood, even though he's in this little baby body, he understood that Putana was actually a demon and she was trying to kill him. But because she wanted to offer her breast to him, he accepted it because of her motherly gesture. And when he suckled her breast, he virtually took her soul out of the body, and she died. And at that point, her body stretched out 12 miles long, which was the size of her real body, and she transformed back into her demon body. and everyone was shocked, completely shocked, Mother Yasoda and all the gopis, and they tried to rescue Krishna from this gigantic body before something happened to him. Of course, the demon Putana was dead, and now they began to purify him from the contamination of having touched her body, or Putana's body, as well as the poison that she put on her breast. So, when Krishna was saved from such a great danger, Mother Yasoda and Rohini were principally concerned, and the other elderly gopis, who were almost equally concerned, followed the activities of Mother Yasoda and Rohini. In other words, Mother Yasoda, the foster mother of Krishna, and Rohini, another wife of Vasudeva, they both were elder gopis, and they knew exactly what to do to purify the child of the contaminating poison and the contact with this demon. So the other devotees, the other gopis or other ladies, followed them. So it says, here we find that in household affairs, the ladies could take charge of protecting a child simply by taking help from the cow, not taking help from doctors or lawyers or other scientists or whatever. They knew how to protect the child by getting help from the cow. As described here, they knew how to wave about the switch of a cow. That's that very hairy end of the cow. The tail of the cow doesn't show a lot of hairs. It's rather, it looks something like a snake almost. And but the cows are always waving their tail, and especially the switch, the end part of it, which is very hairy. You can go outside and see it right now, right? So the gopis knew a lot of things that have been forgotten, and so as described here, they knew how to wave about the switch of a cow so as to protect the child from all types of danger. When people come to our farm to perform cow puja or cow worship, one aspect of that worship, or one part of that worship, is they want to touch the switch of the cow. So I have to sort of trick the cow to turn his back to the people who are performing the puja, so that they can touch the tail, and especially that end of the tail, that hairy part, the switch, and also touch their backside. So, because that's where they drop their children from, and so it's considered a sacred part. The whole cow is sacred. All parts of the cow is sacred, but that's considered a very sacred part of the cow. There are so many facilities afforded by cow protection, but people have forgotten these arts. The importance of protecting cows is therefore stressed by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Krishi Gorakshavani Cham, and in Vaishya Karma Swabhavacham, that Vaishyas, or those who are engaged in cow protection and dairy and producing vegetables and fruits to feed society, their duty is to protect cows. The Kshatriyas, their duty, the warriors, their duty is to protect the citizenry. But the Vaishyas, the persons who do farming and dairy, their purpose is to be able to feed society, and especially to protect cows. Prabhupada wrote a letter to New Vrindavan devotees many years ago, and he said, if you protect cows, your farm will become famous, and many people will come and donate for for cow protection. And he's right. Many people donate to us because they see that we're protecting the cows. Right? So then it says, There are so many facilities afforded by cow protection, but people have forgotten these arts. The importance of protecting cows is therefore stressed by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, even now in the Indian villages surrounding Vrindavana, the villagers live happily simply by giving protection to the cow. Simply by giving protection to the cow, not by, he didn't say by milking the cow. Of course they milk the cow, but simply by giving protection to the cow, they live happily. They keep cow dung very carefully and dry it to use as fuel. They keep a sufficient stock of grains, and because of giving protection to the cows, they have sufficient milk and milk products to solve all economic problems. Simply by giving protection to the cow, the villagers live so peacefully. Even the urine and stool of cows have medicinal value. Whoa. So then the next verse begins to explain the medicinal value of the urine and stool of the cow. Go mutrena snapayitvam punar go rajasarbakam raksham chakshrus chasakrita dvada sange sunama bihi. The child was thoroughly washed, meaning baby Krishna went, after the episode with Putana. The child was thoroughly washed with cow urine. It doesn't say the child was washed with formaldehyde, which is what they use when a child is born in hospitals. And it's horrible. It's actually poisonous. The child was thoroughly washed with cow urine and then smeared with the dust raised by the movements of the cows. Then different names of the Lord were applied with cow dung on 12 different parts of Krishna's body, beginning with the forehead, as done in applying tilaka. In this way, the child was given protection. So every morning, devotees will apply tilak. Tilak is this symbol of Vishnu on the forehead. And they also apply it to 12 different parts of the body: the abdomen, the heart area, the throat area, the right side of the abdomen, and the lower part of the arm, higher part of the arm, lower part of the left side of the abdomen, then the lower part of the arm, higher part of the arm, then in the back, and then the bottom of the back, and of course on the forehead. So each time the tilak is applied, a name of Krishna is recited. This is called nasya. So this nasya is something that Vaishnavas do. Every time they take a bath, they usually bathe 3 times a day. And 3 times a day, they'll apply the holy names of Krishna on these 12 parts of the body, which are the 12 directions. So in that way, they're protected from all directions and from evil from all directions. So the child was thoroughly washed with cow urine and then smeared with the dust raised by the movements of the cows. Then different names of the Lord were applied with cow dung on 12 different parts of his body, beginning with the forehead, as done in applying tilaka. In this way, the child was given protection. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 10.6.20. Then Srimad Bhagavatam 10.6.21, Gopya samsprista salila angesu karaya pritak yasya mani atapalasya bija nyasam akurvata. The gopis first executed the process of achamana. So achamana is purifying the body of the person who performs any rituals by recitation of Vedic mantras and so forth. So we all know what achamana is. We purify our hands with holy water, and then with the left hand we put water in the right hand and we sip it and we say Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. In this way we purify the body, and then we're supposed to sprinkle some drops of the same water in different parts of the body and continue to say Vedic mantras. So the gopis first executed the process of achamana. drinking a sip of water from the right hand. They purified their bodies and hands with the Nyasa mantra, and then applied the same mantra upon the body of the child. So whatever they do to Krishna, they first do to their own body, and then once they're purified, then they did the same thing for Krishna. Nyasa mantra includes achamana. In other words, this applying the names of Krishna with cow dung on the different parts of the body begins with purification with Ganges water by first invoking or in the name of the holy rivers of India, speaking with Gange Cha, Yamuna Chaiva, Godavari Saraswati, and so forth, saying the names of the principal holy rivers in India, beginning with the Ganges, and then sipping the Ganges water after having invoked the Ganges and these other rivers to come into the little water pot. So, Nyasa mantra includes achamana, or first drinking a sip of water kept in the right hand. There are different Vishnu mantras to purify the body. The gopis, and in fact any householders, knew the process for being purified by chanting Vedic mantras, or Vedic hymns. The gopis executed this process first to purify themselves, and then to purify the child Krishna. One executes the process of Anga Nyasa, or Kara Nyasa. So Anga Nyasa is applying the cow dung and reciting a name of Krishna, different names of Krishna on the 12 different parts of the body. Anga means parts of the body, or appendages of the body. One performs this nyasa, or kara nyasa, simply by drinking a little sip of water and chanting the mantra. The mantra is preceded with the first letter of the name, followed by anuswara and the word nama, or Om Namo Jas Tavangri Avyat Mam Mano Manimams Tava Januni Avyat, and so on. By losing Indian culture, Indian householders have forgotten how to execute the Anga Nyasa, this application of the holy names of the Lord in different appendages of the body, and are simply busy in sense gratification without any advanced knowledge of human civilization. So, using the cow products and the cow to purify a newborn baby is part of knowledge of human civilization that has been forgotten today. So instead of anointing the body with the Anganyasa and Achamana, today they will clean the body of a newborn baby with formaldehyde, which is like, it's crazy what they do. They say it's antiseptic. But the real antiseptic is cow urine and cow dung. That's the real antiseptic, right? So now, in the 10th canto, 6th chapter, 22nd, 23rd verse, more mantras that are used to protect the body are recited and explained. So it says, Avyad ajo angri manimams tavat janvatoro yagyo chuta katitatam jataram hayasaya, and so forth. So this mantra was explained to Maharaj Parikshit by Sukadeva Goswami. It says, Sukadeva Goswami informed Maharaj Parikshit that the gopis, following the proper system, protected Krishna, their child, with this mantra. So the first important word of the mantra is Aja. Aja means mystic power that bewilders, or Maya. And it says, may Aja protect your legs. Okay. May Manimam protect your knees. May Yagya protect your thighs. May Achyuta protect the upper part of your waist. And Hayagriva, your abdomen. May Keshava protect your heart. Isha, your chest. The sun god, your neck. Vishnu, your arms. Urukrama, your face. And Ishvara, your head. May Chakri protect you from the front. May Sri Hari Gadadhari, the carrier of the club, protect you from the back. And may the carrier of the bow, who is known as the enemy of Madhu, and Lord Anjana, the carrier of the sword, protect your two sides. May Lord Urugaya, the carrier of the conch shell, protect you from all corners. May Upendra protect you from above. And may Garuda protect you on the ground. And may Lord Haladara, the Supreme Person, protect you on all sides. So it's explained, even in the houses of the cowherd men, who were not very advanced, cowherd men and women, who were not very advanced in the modern ways of civilization, the ladies used to know how to chant mantras to give protection to children with the help of cow dung and cow urine. This was simple and practical way to give the greatest protection from the greatest dangers. People should know how to do this, for this is a part of Vedic civilization. So something so important has been forgotten, even in India. Even in India, people say, ooh, cow dung, I don't want to touch that, thinking it's something like human dung. But no, it's not. It's completely different. Did you ever experience this? Yeah? You've seen your mother do this, or other parents?
Yes. My grandmother, she used to do Maharaj in the village.
Yeah.
She used to put the cow dung paste everywhere.
No, but did they put it on the baby?
Baby have not seen Maharaj.
Yeah, that's what this is. But the cow dung was used for purifying. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, my great auntie, she didn't know about the cow dung, but she used to do things for my protection. In Armenia, they use salt and water, and then they recite their own mantras, in the Armenian language. There was one saint, Armenian saint, who lived in a cave in what's today Turkey, but at that time it was part of Armenia. And he wrote these really wonderful prayers, poetic prayers. And so she would recite the prayers and then go like this with the salt on my head and different parts of my body. And she would touch different parts of my body like that. And that was called Sharel, which means you're anointing the body with sacred salt. Right? So I mean, you see, these type of things were known by women previously, right? When the gopi, but the real thing is what we're reading now. They use cow dung and cow urine to purify the newborn baby, right? And to protect it from evil forces. And so it goes even further now. It says, there's another, now, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:624. After my great auntie died, nothing like that happened again, because it's all been forgotten. Even in India, it's all been forgotten now. These modern Indian ladies, they don't do anything like that, I don't think. It's just completely forgotten. And it's a great tragedy, because it's the best way to protect a newborn baby. So then there are more mantras. Indriyani Hrishikesha Pranam Narayano Vatu Swita Dvipa Patishchitam Mano Yogeshwaro Vatu. May Hrishikesha protect your senses, and Narayana your life air. May the master of Sweta Dvipa, that's Kshirodakshai Vishnu, protect the core of your heart, and may Lord Yogeshwara, that means Krishna, the master of all mysticism, protect your mind. Then it continues again, more mantras. Prishnigarbhas Tute Buddhim Atmanam Bhagavam Para. See, the gopis knew all these mantras, right? Kridantam Patu Govinda Sayanam Patu Madhava Vrajantam Avyat Vaikunta Asinam Tvam Sriyapati Bunjanam Yagyabuk Patu Sarvagraha Bhayankara. May Lord Prishnigarbha protect your intelligence. These are different names of Krishna. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, your soul. May you, while you are playing, may Govinda protect you. And while you are sleeping, may Madhava protect you. So these mantras were recited by the mother to the child, right? May Lord Vaikuntha protect you while you are walking, and may Lord Narayana, the husband of the goddess of fortune, protect you while you are sitting. Similarly, may Lord Yagyabuk, the fearful enemy of all evil planets, always protect you while you enjoy life. And it continues. Dakshinyo yatudanyascha kushmanda ye ribaka graha bhuta preta pisas achas cha yaksharaksho vinayakaha kotara revati jesta putana matrikadaya unmada ye hiapaspamara deha pranendriya druma, and so forth. The evil witches known as Dakinis, Yatudanis, Kushmandas are the greatest enemies of children, and the evil spirits like Bhutas, Pretas, Pisachas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, and Vinayakas, as well as witches like Kotara, Revati, and Jesta, Putana, and Matrika, are always ready to give trouble to the body, the life air, and the senses, causing loss of memory, madness, and bad dreams. Like the most experienced evil stars, they all create great disturbances, especially for children, but one can vanquish them simply by uttering Lord Vishnu's name. For when Lord Vishnu's name resounds, all of them become afraid and go away. So this was a science that was known by the gopis, right? And they used it to protect the newborn children, because demons like to kill newborn children and just cause misery to honest people. And then it says, as stated in the Brahma Samhita, one can vanquish them simply by uttering Lord Vishnu's name. For when Lord Vishnu's name resounds, all of them, all these witches and evil spirits, become afraid and go away. As stated in Brahma Samhita 533, Advaitam Achyutam Anadyam Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayuvanam Cha Vedesa Durlabham Durlabham Atma Bhakto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who is the original person, non-dual, infallible, and without beginning. Although he expands into unlimited forms, he is still the original, and although he is the oldest person, he always appears as a French youth. Such eternal, blissful, and all-knowing forms of the Lord cannot be understood by the academic wisdom of the Vedas, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. Okay, while decorating the body with tilaka, we give protection to the body by chanting 12 names of Vishnu. Although Govinda or Lord Vishnu is one, he has different names and forms with which to act differently. But if one cannot remember all the names at one time, one may simply chant Lord Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. So if you can't remember all these mantras, then you can just chant Lord Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, or you can chant the Hare Krishna mantra, right? And always think of Lord Vishnu. Vishnur Aradhanam Param. This is the highest form of worship. If one remembers Vishnu always, even though one is disturbed by many bad elements, one can be protected without a doubt. The Ayurveda Shastra recommends Oshadi Chintayet Vishnum. Even while taking medicine, one should remember Vishnu, because the medicine is not all in all, and Lord Vishnu is the real protector. The material world is full of danger. Padam padam yat vipadam. There's danger in every step. Therefore, one must become a Vaishnava and think of Vishnu constantly. This is made easier by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended Kirtanya Sadahari Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, or Kirtanad Eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Brajet. Always chant the holy names of the Lord, especially the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then 10.6.30 says, Si Sukha Uvacha, Iti Pranaya Badabir Gopi Krita Rakshanam, payayitva stanam mata sanyava sayad atmajam. Shri Sukadeva Goswami continued, all the gopis headed by Mother Yasoda were bound by material affection, and after they thus chanted the mantras to protect the child, Mother Yasoda gave the child the nipple of her breast to suck, and then got him to lie down on his bed. And then it explains, when a baby drinks milk from the breast of his mother, this is a good sign of health. So the elderly gopis were not satisfied with chanting mantras to give protection to Krishna. They also tested whether their child's health was in order. When the child sucked the breast, this confirmed that he was healthy, and when the gopis were fully satisfied, they had the child lie down on his bed. So this is the science of how to protect and purify a child who is newly born. Now we had a little baby that was born yesterday to our devotees, to a devotee couple. Apparently, the people in the hospital gave certain types of drugs to the wife, and this has caused health complications right now. So I'm waiting to hear what's going to happen, but I'm praying nothing bad happens. But you see, this is the danger of going to a hospital for birth. My wife and I had 7 kids. After the 5th kid, she stopped going to the hospital for a birth. She did it herself at home in the bathtub with the help of one other lady. She said, I don't want to go to the hospital. She said, it's too demoniac there. And they do all kinds of things to you, you know. And then the other thing is they try and force you to take to get a shot the second day of the birth of the child. That shot, according to a lot of people, is the cause of autism. Because if they make a little mistake and put too much of the whatever they're shooting into the vein of a 2-day-old child, can either kill the child or cause autism, which means the rest of the life the child is like a vegetable almost, you know, not functional. So that's why there's a huge amount of autism now. You know, even in our community, we have a bunch of families that have autistic kids. And this is the danger. See, in the Vedas, you're not supposed to put pins into your body. Of course, you know, the Chinese, they do their acupuncture, but it's not allowed in the Vedas because it's dangerous. If you put a pin right into your vein and shoot something into the vein, that goes all over your body in a matter of a minute or so. And if they make a little mistake, because they're making thousands and millions of these vaccines, if they make and if there's a little bit of an overdose, especially for a 2-day-old baby, you can completely ruin the child's life. So the gopis never did anything like that. This is what they do, is what we just read. They purify the body of the child with cow dung and cow urine, and especially with the Vedic mantras, right? And if you don't know the mantras, then you just chant Hare Krishna. That's the Maha Mantra, the greatest mantra of all, right? But you have to anoint the body in 12 parts. And we do it, we're supposed to do it every day ourselves for our body, anointing it with the 12 names of Krishna. Okay, and this is the way to protect a newborn child. And this was practiced traditionally. So we'll stop right there. So the whole point is to hear about Krishna every day. Now we're hearing about Krishna and the special thing about the importance of cow protection and how Mother Yasoda protected Krishna's, although Krishna doesn't need protection, but under her, let's say, protection, she did this wonderful ritual of anointing the body of Krishna. First of all, basically bathing the body of Krishna with cow urine, and then anointing the body on 12 parts with cow dung, right? and then saying all these mantras. So that's because in any act that one performs, there are 5 factors that have to be considered. 1 is the body. 2 is the senses. 3 is the soul. 4 is the activity that one is going to undertake. And 5 is Krishna. Most people consider maybe the first 4, and they ignore the 5th. That is Krishna. Therefore, they often make many mistakes in their life. Now, if one is a Mayavadi, then they don't think of Krishna as a person, so they don't get the full, let's say, enlightenment, even though they might think of God, but in an impersonal way. They don't get the full enlightenment of knowledge, so they'll still make mistakes. However, when we consider and know for sure that Krishna is a transcendental person, the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead, then we have to take into account what his teachings are before we act. So we consider the body, we consider the senses, we consider the soul, we consider the activity, and we also have to consider Krishna's instructions that's coming through the disciplic succession and the current Siksha and Diksha gurus before one undertakes an action. So let's say you're going to have a childbirth, right? So you should ask the guru or gurus, what should we do, right? And if they ask, then we tell them what Mother Yasoda did for Krishna. And so they didn't give an injection into the vein of the 2-day-old child, right? This is what they did, and it depended on the cow to protect the child with the cow products. So some people say, "Ooh, I don't believe that. That's all mythology, blah blah blah." But it's not, and it's been practiced for thousands and millions of years previous to this modern era. Are there any questions? You see, if you hear Bhagavatam on a regular basis, you learn a lot of things that have been forgotten, and it will save you a lot of misery, Okay, and we'll have Guru Puja. Go ahead.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Bandho Mui Savadana Mate
Bandho Mui Savadana Mate
Jahara Prasade Bai E Bhava Toriya Jai
Janara Prasade Bhai Eva Vatoriya Jai
Krishna Prapti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te
Krishna Prabhu Oja Oite
Gurumukha-padma-vakya Chitite koriyakya
Gurumukha-padma-vakya
Arana koriho mane asha
Arana koriya mane asa
Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati
Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati
Jai Prasade Pure Sarva Asha
Ye prasade pure sarva
चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
Sudan divaje janme janme bhav se
चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
Sudan divaje janme janme bhav se
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित
Divya gyani de prakasita
प्रेमा भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jate
प्रेमा भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jate
वेद गाय जहाँ चरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनार बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आदम जनार बंधु लोके नाथ लोके जीवाना हा हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया हा हा प्रभु करो दया देहो मोरे पद छाया एबे जास गोशुक त्रिभुवाना श्रीला प्रभुपाद पतित पावना जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Paravacha, Charasta, Tarasatara, Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Shri Prabhupada, Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnavin, Ki Jai, Namacharya, Shri Haridas Thakur, Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta, Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan, Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham, Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham, Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham, Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Samveda Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Patita Bhavani Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu.
The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him, ecstatic prema emanates. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, the Lord and Master devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet. Prabhupada.